Kino Der Toten, the most iconic Call of Duty Zombies map of all time. Kino Der Toten was released alongside Call of Duty Black Ops 1 in November 2010. However, did you know that this map was supposed to be released on Call of Duty World at War, but because of the Modern Warfare 2 series being released so close to the deadline of DLC 4, they actually pushed it back, ready for Black Ops 1. Overall, they made the right decision, as the Black Ops 1 engine in particular has better mechanics and feels a lot smoother compared to Call of Duty World at War, plus the game looks better as a whole and functions better, and that's what we want, right? So Kino Der Toten was actually set after the events of the recent Call of Duty World at War. You can actually tell just by looking at the loading screen for the map. So when you load into the map, you'll hear Dr. Richtofen talking about something, and then in the background you've got this huge picture, and it's got a picture of Kino Der Toten in the top corner, Verrucht next, Shino Numa next, and then finally Derice. This shows that there's some kind of storyline that needs to be continued in Kino Der Toten. I think they've done a really good job of this, because they did make it obvious as such, because some people who have never ever played Call of Duty Zombies at this point won't even have a clue what that picture means, but it's good for the old school players and they understand that there's some continuation from what they've left behind. I find that's like a really neat touch. Pretty cool, right? This time along, Treyarch decided to set Kino Der Toten in an abandoned theatre. And of course, when you first spawn in, you noticed immediately that the 4 iconic characters are back. You know this because they'll say one of their quotes, like Nikolai will go on about his vodka or his wives, and this just shows that the 4 characters are back, continuing the story once again from Derice, which is amazing, showing that there's some continuation to this storyline from World at War. You notice as well when you first spawn into the map, you come by teleporter. This is because of the noise when you first enter the map. Then once again you're presented with the screen that says round 1. All the features seem to be the same. However, when you turn around, you notice this quick revive machine, and it's only 500 points. Because in World at War this was 1500 points, and the function of the perk was to simply revive players more quickly, making it pretty useless on solo. However, when you get on solo this time, the perk is a lot better. It gives you 3 lives, so for example, if I go down to the zombies and die, it will pick me right back up, and then I'll be able to get the machine again 2 more times. However, after the 3rd time of using it, it will disappear, and then I'll be on my last life, because if you could use it an unlimited amount of times, it'd be crazy and overpowered. But once that last time is used, of course you die and the game ends. This was a fantastic decision in my opinion, as the quick revive perk in World at War was hardly ever used on solo, because it was literally a worthless buy. When you went down, you were dead. There was no second chance. Quick revive didn't help you for that. But in co-op, the function of quick revive, just like in World at War, does stay exactly the same, and that is to revive teammates a little bit more quickly, which is actually really useful to get you out of tricky situations if you can't revive your player. What you also start to notice about this map is just how open it is. I mean, when you first spawn in the spawn room, you can tell there's lots of space to move around and train, and this is shown in other areas of the map, such as the main part of the theatre for example, meaning that you can train zombies round in circles and making high rounds a lot easier compared to all of the World at War maps that came before it. There's also quite a few returning features to Call of Duty Black Ops 1 Zombies, especially with Kino Der Toten. For example, all the other perks that you know and love, with the exception of Quick Revive, all remain the same. There's also a return of dog rounds, which means you're guaranteed a max ammo every 4 to 5 rounds. Things like the Packer Punch and the Monkey Bombs also return, adding a bit of familiarity to the Call of Duty World at War player base. However, there's also some new features in Kino Der Toten. For example, there's a new perk called Mule Kick. Well, I say new perk because technically this wasn't actually released on the base version of the game. This actually came when DLC 4 Moon came out, but it's in the map nonetheless. Anyway, Mule Kick provides the player with 3 weapons instead of 2, so you could hold 3 weapons instead of 2, which is a huge deal, meaning if you run out of ammo or you want that 3rd weapon that you couldn't equip at the same time, now you can. There's also some new traps in Kino Der Toten. Well, first of all, the electric traps are back in all their glory of course, but we also have 2 unique ones. The first one is the turrets, and when you activate these, it shoots the zombies that are in the vicinity. And then another trap is the fire trap. It's basically the same as the electric trap, but it's just a cool new addition. It looks different, and it's a very unique thing to Kino Der Toten. Now there's also a new enemy type in Kino Der Toten, and that is the Nova Crawlers. So the Nova Crawlers actually don't spawn in the map until you turn the map's power on. Yes, I forgot to mention the power switch is back, but you probably already gathered that already. Anyhow, the crawlers spawn in when the power is switched on, and they'll come crawling down the walls from the roof. And obviously this adds a bit of atmosphere and tension and quite a bit of creepiness to the map. However, these things are a little bit of a pain to kill, because you have to obviously change the direction of your gun. Instead of looking up, facing forwards towards the zombies, you actually have to go downwards and shoot them. And if you go into them while they're dying, the gas will explode, and this will slow you down and kill other zombies. Killing other zombies can be useful, but when it slows you down, it blurs your vision, and you can actually get killed yourself if you're not careful because of the Nova Crawler gas. And of course, the best feature of all, one of the most iconic and most powerful wonder weapons of all time, it's the Thunder Gun. Now the Thunder Gun is the new wonder weapon of Kino Der Toten, and it packs a punch, that's for sure. Regardless if this weapon is pack-a-punched or not, this weapon can kill a whole train of zombies in one shot. So you could get a whole pack of 24 zombies, all the zombies in the map, fire one shot, and they will all die right in front of you. This weapon is great as it helps you get to the high rounds, but also if you get trapped in a corner, you can just whip out your Thunder Gun, shoot it, and all the zombies will disappear instantly in front of you. When the Thunder Gun is pack-a-punch, its damage potential actually remains the same. It's the ammo capacity that changes, which is still very, very useful. So for example, on the original Thunder Gun, the reserve will be 12 bullets, but when it's the Zeus Cannon, which is the name of the weapon when it's pack-a-punch, it will have 24 bullets in the reserve, giving you even more opportunities to kill the undead. Overall, Kino Der Toten is a very accessible map for all player types, including the professional players and just the casual players. For casual players, because simply, well, training zombies around the stage and going and camping in the different areas of the map you can camp in, make this map very easy for new players to get into and play. There's nothing complicated about it, there's no complicated pack-a-punch steps or any crazy things you have to do to turn the power on. It's just turn the power on, get your perks, get your pack-a-punch, and you're in for a good time. Now this zombie map is also good for professional players. This is because it's easy to get into and easy to set up, which is great for professional players, meaning they can just get into it really quickly. But to get to high rounds and be consistent with this map is actually very, very difficult to do, because getting to high rounds on Kino Der Toten is very repetitive and very, very long. Like the rounds will last hours at some point for the amount of zombies that spawn in, because it's not like most of the World at War maps, so there's only 24 zombies around. Zombies will increase in amount and health each round, making it harder and harder and harder. Because of the map's simplicity as well, it's very fun to play with friends. You can just hop in, have a good time, there's nothing to worry about. You don't have to sit there worrying about who's going to build which staff, for example, like in Origins. You don't have to worry about how you're going to do things. It's just open a few doors, turn the power on, get your perks, camp somewhere in the map or train or whatever, and you'll have fun. It's simple as that. However, there's a few drawbacks from what I actually just said. Yes, the map is easy and fun to follow and whatever have you, but there's a little bit of a problem. The map is also too easy and can get quite boring really quickly. So I know I said for hardcore players it's good to get to high rounds on if you know what you're doing and all the rest of it, but it takes quite a lot of patience and motivation to do it, because it can get very boring very quickly. Because if the map's too easy and you're repeating yourself over and over and over again, nothing changes after, let's say, round 20 on this map. It's just run around the stage, camp in this place, do this, do that. And to me that's a little bit of a problem, because in the later maps or even previous maps there's a little bit more to do. You can be doing something to keep yourself entertained, but in Kino it's very repetitive and there's not much to the map, unfortunately. Also, for me personally, I actually feel Kino is quite similar to Derice in a lot of ways, such as the teleport system and the way you pack-a-punch your weapons and things like that. I feel like it's just more of a, it's sort of Kino sort of Derice's old little brother or older sister, whatever you want to call it. Nothing really changed too much. Yes, the Nova Crawlers were added, yes there was a couple of new traps, but in the grand scheme of things it runs very similarly to Doris, and that's a little bit disappointing in my opinion, and I think the map's overrated. Yes, it's simple, yes it's fun like I keep saying, but it's not the best map in the world like people keep saying it is. It does get quite boring and repetitive, and to be honest with you, I'd much prefer to play Doris, but that's just my personal view, you might disagree. Anyway, that is it for today's map review on Kino Der Toten, but don't forget to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.